Hey everyone, so we're going to be talking about my top 10 makeup brushes to have and to own. You don't have to own this entire set, pick and choose as you wish, but these are the ones that I tend to favour the most. And let's just make a start and I can tell you why as I go along. So the first one is a standard eyeshadow brush, which looks like this. Now this one is synthetic, and I've done a review on the synthetic ones, which is coming up. This one's by Cozette and it's 225. It looks like this. And because it's synthetic, you can use it for cream and powder. Now this is a standard lay down brush, which means you just lay colour down on the eyelid, all over the eye. And because it's synthetic, you can use it for concealer, and it's small enough to do contouring work as well, which is really, really nice. And it's one of my favourite brushes. The next one is a standard lay down brush, again, eyeshadow brush, and this is by MAC. It's the 242, and it's a smaller version. And again, this is for more detailed work. For those of you with smaller eyelids, this is a great brush to have. And again, even though it's not synthetic, this is great for concealer and also for lips. Next comes a blending brush, and you knew I was going to mention the 217 by MAC. One of my favourite brushes to use because it can get right here in the socket and you can wiggle it and pull the colour out, or you can wrap it around and get a really defined crease. People do use this for concealer as well, which tends to work quite well. I don't tend to favour it for that, but it's still a brush that you really, really should own. Next comes a blending brush or crease brush or whatever you want to call it. This one's by Inglot and it looks like this. This tends to be one of my favourite ones. They come in lots of different shapes and sizes, and it depends on the size of your eye. If you've got a really big eye, then obviously you're going to want one that's much, with a much sort of thicker bristle, expands more. If you've got a very small eye, then you might want to try one that's a lot slimmer, like perhaps the MAC 222, something like that. You can see the difference. But these are really good brushes to have because you can define the crease, you can blend out. Lovely brush to have. They're also good because of the size to apply tiny amounts of shimmer to the cheekbone. Okay, this brush is by Cozette and it's the D320. It looks like this. It's a fine pointed tipped brush. This brush is excellent for doing lips. It's synthetic, so it does well with creams and powder. Because it's got a point, you can really, really define the lip, which is amazing. So this is a great brush to have, but it's also good to conceal blemishes because of the point. But the one thing that I like to use it for the most is taking a neutral shadow eyeshadow, one that's about 1 or 2 tones darker than your skin, and taking it right in here and etching this bit out because it opens up the eye and you can really sort of just join it onto the nose. The whole thing looks very beautiful and big and spacious. This one's by Japanesque and it's just a push liner brush. You can get these in arts and crafts stores, so don't think you have to buy a really expensive one. Best thing to line your eyes with if you've got hooded eyes or you don't have much eyelid like me. You literally just push it into the lash line with colour on and wiggle it and it'll deposit colour. It's amazing. Also a good brush to really get defined lips with. Synthetic. And a good way is to lift your eyelid up as well for the eyes and push the eyeshadow into the lash line. Probably one of the best brushes that I own. Okay, next comes foundation brush, and I'm going to give you 2 options. This really makes it 11 and not 10. The first one is just like a standard foundation brush. This is angled. It doesn't have to be angled. It doesn't matter. This is just one I picked up. It's the P300 by Cozette. Again, doesn't matter. You can use just a standard foundation brush. The whole principle remains. You apply your foundation like this, as you do, but that's not how you blend it. You then press onto the skin and all the brush strokes go away and your skin looks wonderful. So you can use that as a foundation brush, or the favorite one would be just a stippling brush like this. This is by Makeup Forever. Great brush to use providing you've got normal, oily or combination skin. If you've got dry skin, this motion causes micro exfoliation and gives you that, and can give you a very cakey look, so don't use it if you've got dry skin. And the final 3 brushes. This one is by OCC and it's like a buffer brush and it's amazing. The new generation of synthetic hair is just amazing. They're softer than real hair, they're beautiful. This brush is good for applying blush because it lets you hit the cheekbone really, really well and you can just blend it up. It's amazing for that. You can also, if you've got normal skin, use this to buff in your foundation. Next is going to come just a very standard blush brush. I like the size of this because, you know, you've seen blush brushes that are huge, and unless you've got a massive cheek, you know, you end up with blush all up there. You don't want that. This is a very standard small blush brush, and it's just good for just hitting the cheekbone. It's also good for bronzer. And last but not least, a standard kabuki brush, or this is called a kabuki brush where I come from. This is by NARS. It has a completely unpronounceable name, and since you know that I don't know my ass from my elbow most of the time, I'm not even going to try and pronounce it. This brush is good for blush, for highlighter, for bronzer, and for loose powder. Loose powder really isn't something that you actually put on with a brush. It's actually something you take off with a brush, and I'll explain that perhaps in a different video if you want to hear it. But a wonderful, wonderful brush to have. And that's it. That's my brush collection. That's the things that I think that are the most important for your kit. Let me know what you think. Let me know if you have them. Let me know if you don't. Let me know if you like them. I'll put all the links and all the bumps that you could possibly need in the little bar down below. So thanks for watching me and for bearing with me, and I'll see you next time. Bye bye.